Hello, everyone. Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando, Monday, June 22nd, 6:43 p.m. Thank you so much for your support. We're live, about 10 people joining right now. So thank you again. I'm here with David. My name is Luis. We're here to talk about several topics, obviously, World Cup driven topics today. We're going to be kind of recapping the week. How did Pasalic did? How did Brian Ojeda did, if you get any minutes? Is this Messi's World Cup? Because he just broke a record, and I think Mbappe is close by too. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Also, there's some rumors about a Mexican striker, Santi Gimenez, coming into Orlando City. We'll discuss that and see if there's any truth of that or not. How would he fit in Orlando City's system? And then Antoine Griezmann apparently has arrived to Central Florida, and we'll discuss all of that. And then OTB, unfortunately, with a bump on the road this weekend at Osceola Heritage Park, they lost against the Union 2-1, and they snapped the four-game winning streak that they had going. And then possibly an STM scrimmage versus the Rowdies, which right now are doing pretty hot in USL. So we have a pretty packed schedule today. Thank you for your support. How are you, my friend? How's it going, David?
Yeah, doing well. Good to see everybody. Good to hear from everyone. Obviously, it's been a really exciting last couple. What are we at? Like day 10, day 11 of the World Cup, whatever it's been at this point. It's been a really good. It's been a really good stretch. I love watching soccer. I love having it on all the time. It's a great opportunity to be able to catch a lot of it. So the current game right now is in a weather delay. I think this is our first weather delay of the World Cup. So the Europeans are experiencing the wonderful things that happen during weather delays. So that'll be really interesting. But yeah, good. I mean, Luis, how could you not enjoy this time of year? That's all I'm gonna say.
No, 100%. Yeah, it's awesome. I also have to fight back and forth with people that just don't like it for it to be here in this part of the world, right? But hey, we got the World Cup. We have to make the best of it. I think so far it's been no issues. Aside of the water breaks, which is a little weird, but I mean, if you look at the heat index, especially in Miami and Philly, I mean, in a lot of the places that they're playing, I mean, the heat index is pretty skyrocketed. But I think like whenever there's like rain, it shouldn't be a water break, in my opinion, right? So they gotta kind of work on that rule a little better, but we'll go from there. I've also been seeing a lot of the commentators and pundits on Fox Sports getting it with each other, like Slotin with Lexi Lalas, and it's just pretty cool. Time Bomb Tom says, "Hey guys, fans are returning to the stadium now. Estimated time
Okay,
is resume at 7."
cool.
Luis Machado says, "What's up, guys? How y'all doing? What's up, my
How are
friend?
you, Luis? Good to
Thank
see
you
you.
so much for watching us." But yeah, so let's dive in real quick. In the last fixture, we had our Orlando City own Marco Pasalic joining, and he obviously June 17th. We kind of trace back. England faced Croatia. A really tough matchup because Croatia reached really deep on the last World Cup. But this was the last World Cup for Luka Modric, and it was very special. There's a lot of new players for Croatia as well, and England lose stacked. A little bit of a question mark on Thomas Tuchel, but I think he's demonstrated that he can definitely handle the egos in that locker room. He's doing pretty good. England won 4-2. Marco Pasalic had I think between 15 minutes, I think, on in the game.
It's
Um,
about 20 minutes, yeah, something like
yeah,
that.
about 15, 20.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't, I mean, he wasn't like, wow, right? My left foot is my weapon type of, I understood that there may be some nerves, playing, your first
Well,
World
Luis, he
Cup.
did have that one shot, that
Yeah.
nice curler that Pickford did end up saving. It was one of like Pickford's like one of three saves. Pickford
Right.
didn't have to do
So
a lot.
yeah, so that's what I was gonna go into. I think he at least showed intent and for what I got from Croatia fans is everybody was very impressed because everybody looks down to the MLS, and they thought the move for him from Europe to MLS was not the good move. But it's kind of, I think a lot of European fans are understanding now. Oh wow, this is the reason why maybe the U.S. and Mexico are doing good, and we're kind of fumbling a little bit, especially the South Americans, because the Mexicans and the Americans are used to this type of you know you know weather delays, long flights, you know,
Mm,
uh, weird pitches, so
yeah.
but Marco, like Time Bob Tom says here, you got a really nice run and a shot on goal. I thought that was pretty good. I think there's gonna be more moments for Marco. I think I don't know if
He had
he's
a
ready to be a
he had a
starter,
good
but I think
tackle too, Luis. I don't want to. I want to take that away from him because he very much was doing well to play on both ends. Obviously, Croatia was chasing the game, so they needed him to kind of like put an effort on both sides. But I thought he looked decent, especially against a team like England. You want to see some sparks there, and he did. I mean, his fellow MLSer and countryman Petar Musa got a goal in this one. He's been really good all season, so um, again, another MLSer like showing that they're pretty decent. But also, Croatia has at least two more games to give him an opportunity to show out. So maybe he'll get that opportunity.
yeah, and then I think once he scores, I think he's not gonna stop. I think once he feels there's more of like used to, you know, going in and making a big impact, I think he's gonna continue
Mm-hmm.
doing so. And I mean, that's in a way good and bad for us, right? I mean, good to see one of our boys there in the big stage, but also um, bad because we may see him for the last time wearing purple, right? Because he's going to be probably snatched by bigger and better teams, right? So, but another story is essentially Brian Ojeda, which has had limited minutes for Paraguay. How do you see that Paraguay win against against Turkey? 1-0 win.
Yeah, I mean, it to me. It wasn't convincing. I don't really know how else to put it besides that. I think maybe we came into this World Cup giving Turkey more credit than they probably should have had. They have looked disjointed more than I expected to look at Turkey and see them, be this disjointed. And so I don't know. I think it's tough, because I do think like Turkey has a lot of parts that are really good. Obviously, Guler is the one name that jumps off of the page there, but like they're just not solid at all. And I think this was a perfect opportunity for Paraguay to get an opportunity. I mean, going back to our guy, he said 0 minutes so far. I just looked it up. He said 0 minutes so far for Paraguay. So I just don't know what it's going to take at this point to get him into the game. I think there were opportunities for Paraguay to put him into the game, and they just didn't. Also, this last game was the strange game where Almiron gets the red card for covering his mouth, which they all knew what the rules were. I'm not here to argue whether or not that rule makes sense. All
I
I'm
think it's
saying
a dumb
is
rule.
the rule exists and you know about it because the refs and everybody have talked to you about it multiple times. So if you cover your mouth and you talk to an opponent, you're getting sent off. It's as simple as that. Also, this game was a very traditional Yvonne Barton game. And if you've ever watched Barton ref in CONCACAF, you know exactly how nutso this guy is. This is the
Freaking
same ref that stole the game for Miami in Leagues Cup. We'll never forget that one. That's one that'll stay in our mind
100%.
forever. But yeah, I mean, I feel for Brian Ojeda because obviously we've had the opportunity to watch him all season, right? And he's had some good games. He's had some bad games. This team has been up and down as well. But I feel like Brian Ojeda is a guy that could potentially help this Paraguay squad, and he's just not seeing the pitch at all. And I just don't really understand what the thought process behind that is.
Well, my understanding is that a lot of fans are complaining about the coach and
Mm.
saying that, yeah, there's a lot of players that are being underutilized. And right now we have no time to put the same starting 11 as we did the qualifiers. So he needs to really change things around. And Brian Ojeda is a player that they're actually asking for him to have minutes. From my understanding and per sources, Brian Ojeda should have minutes in the next game coming up for Paraguay. So we, I don't think they're ready to give him the starting spot, but we're probably going to see him play between 15 to 20 minutes in this upcoming game. Now, I do want to say the way Paraguay plays, what you saw against Turkey, that's exactly how they play in the qualifiers. They are a very ugly team to watch. They're boring. They go off the counter and hope that they score. They settle for the 0-0 draw if they can. They're a very scrappy team. They're a very physical team. They're not so much known for the technical ability. Now, when it comes to that rule, I do want to say though, I think, I mean, the way it's portrayed and again, this goes to the federation's issues.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yes, they voted on it. It's a rule, and and they should know about it. Yes, but from my understanding, the way the players are seeing it, because I saw a couple of articles for the Paraguayan media, the same players are saying, "I never knew about that," and I was like,
No,
"So,
there's no
so
way because
well,
FIFA went and talked to all these teams twice before the tournament started.
so either Almiron is full of crap with
He
with
is.
with the rest of the 10 players, but in my opinion, I think it goes back into the federation because the federation knows the rules as well. So
Yeah, I
if
mean it's a silly thing to implement now, Luis. That's the point. Is I think this is, and I think I want to shout out David Goss, who's over at Soccer Wise. They do a daily show to cover the World Cup, and normally they cover the league and NWSL and all that kind of stuff. And I think he said it the best way the day after the Almiron got the red card. Is he was like, it's great that FIFA is doing something to address or trying to address the root cause, which is trying to get racism out of the game. But this is not the solution to get racism out of the game, right? And what you're doing, especially with this rule right now and introducing it right before the World Cup, is you are forcing players to learn another rule on top of all the other rules that they've stacked on top of this tournament already, for something that, as a lot of people said online, is a pretty innocuous thing that people just do on the soccer pitch. They cover their mouth and they say something to somebody. And most of the time, 9 times out of 10, it's to their own teammate, right? It's to their own team, or it's to the ref sometimes. It's, I want to cover my mouth because I don't want to give anything away. But, again, the rule's dumb, but I don't feel bad for Almiron because they were coached on this rule before the tournament started. And I'm not going to lie, Luis, he kind of pegs me as a guy that would get nicked for this rule, right? Almiron has always kind of been that kind of guy, if that makes sense.
No, it also, it sparks political uproar. And again, I do want to say what I've seen in other shows, especially South American shows, they're blaming the United States. They're like, well, there's no freedom of speech there. I was like, it's not the country. The country does not control the rules for FIFA. It's FIFA's rule. It's Infantino.
Yeah.
Like it's the country has nothing to do. Now, I personally believe that now that they have that implementation, I guarantee you the MLS is going to implement it as well. In maybe next, I don't know.
Maybe we'll see if FIFA tweaks the rule between now and when the World Cup ends.
I think they're going to implement it too. And to me, I just think it's going to be funny because the people that do the bad leap reading are going to have a lot of work because it's going to be fantastic. Because there's going to be players that are not going to give a rat's ass about they're going to say, "Well, suck my," or "F your," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to care. And now what? We're going to give him a red card because he said "F your so and so," So it's just taking a little bit of you cannot completely clean nicely soccer. There's going to be some back and forthness even verbally, but obviously, yes, without racism, 100%. I'm on board 100% on that.
And I think that's what FIFA's trying to get to the root of the issue, Luis. I just think they're going about it the wrong way to solve it. I think there's other things FIFA could do to try to solve that, and to drop this on this World Cup where you already changed the throw-in rule, you changed the corner rule, you changed the how much time to get off, you changed the whole if you need the medical staff to come on the field, you have to go off. Like, you did all of these changes, right? And some of these are not foreign to MLS fans because we've been running with these rules for a bit now. Some of these rules, not all of them. But like, to add this one on top of everything else is just kind of crazy. And the hydration break change that you decided to make, and you basically made the game 4 quarters at this point. So like, I don't know. It just seems like, I get it. The rule's the rule. Almiron should have been sent off. He knew what the rule was. But like, it's silly that this was the prescription that FIFA came up with. I just don't get it.
I agree, and I mean, hopefully they tweak it around and see what they can do.
I hope so too.
But again, stop blaming, and that has to do with my next topic. Stop blaming the United States. Stop blaming the people, the fans, the atmosphere. Stop blaming the government. Really, I know we probably don't like the government, but we don't. But they have nothing to do with FIFA rules. You know what I mean?
Whatever your opinion is on the government, right, has nothing to do with the rules of this competition.
Take politics away from the sport. Like, to me, it's like, and so they try to bring this and to paint it in like it's the United States. It's not. And I'm going to say this, guys. There's a reason why FIFA wants to come to the United States, and there's a reason why in 2028 the Copa America is coming back to the States. It was announced today, pretty much it was leaked, that 2028, it's confirmed, it's going to be Copa America 2.0 here in the States again. I've heard that maybe we will see Orlando again on there. And also, 6 nations from CONCACAF will be present in the 2028 Copa America. So, obviously, CONMEBOL is like, oh, you're taking away our tournament. But, bro, no. There's no acquisitive power in our nations anymore. And it's hard to say. It's hard to realize there's no acquisitive power. You're not, and unfortunately, soccer has become a sport in which it's an spectator sport now. You know what I mean? So, and you got, tickets, especially for those type of events. If you want to see a Vini Jr., if you want to see a Messi, are going to be expensive. Uruguay, Paraguay, Argentina they certainly have the infrastructure, but they don't have the cash, bro. They don't have the acquisitive power of the American culture. American culture, it's more poised to drive more bucks and more revenue. And that is the truth. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. Now, sure. With this, I'm gonna tie it into Bielsa because I've been saying it, and it sucks for me to say it because I'm South American, but I mean, South American soccer is being exposed in this World Cup. I feel like it's not being the best World Cup for the South American teams. I think aside of Argentina, which is literally Messi, plus Brazil and maybe Colombia, I think the rest of them have disappointed tremendously. From Paraguay being a top 4 in CONMEBOL, Ecuador being number 2 in CONMEBOL, and Uruguay in the top 5 of CONMEBOL, completely being portrayed so negatively, just not because of what they're doing, because of their play. They're playing pretty awful. And you have it's showing that when you have investment in the sport, it shows that when you work on your national team, when you add physicality and you have players playing abroad, and you maximize the opportunities of bringing people that have descendants, like, for example, the kids from Curacao that are mainly lived in Netherlands, but they are from Curacao, right? Or the people from Cape Verde that some of them play in Primeira League in Portugal, right? And in the second division, but they're from Cape Verde, right? So trying to find other ways on capitalizing and making their teams better slowly without making a lot of hype and a lot of noise. they're taking a lot of the spotlight from all these South American teams. Like I'm just astonished on Ecuador and Uruguay. I mean, I just couldn't believe how Uruguay almost lost against Cape Verde yesterday, and I couldn't believe how Ecuador, coming with all this hype and all these players
Well,
in the top leagues,
let me start with
they
Ecuador because
completely
I think that's
fumbled.
I think that's the best one to start with. I think Ecuador is in the biggest risk of not moving on to the next round out of all the teams that you
Yeah,
just mentioned, because they're up
trick.
against what, Germany next, and
Yeah,
like Germany's not going to rest.
they gotta beat Germany in order for them to go through as a third best team.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where they've been a huge disappointment. I'm not worried about them at all. I know they're a possibility of a third place team that we could face, but I'm not worried about them at all. I don't like the way Uruguay's been playing. They've had to have been bailed out by Maxi Araujo
Yeah,
twice now to try to like save points,
we should
which is
bring them to Orlando
nuts.
City.
And like I think they play what, Spain next, right, or something like that, if I have
Well,
that
yeah.
right.
So this is the thing, and this is the craziest part, and this ties in with the whole Messi thing too. But I'll touch in just a second. But I want to trace back a little bit and read some comments. It says Ecuador has been a major letdown, says Time Bomb Tom. Same with FIFA money talks. Period. End of story. Them and Belgium are the two biggest disappointments so far. I think. Yeah, Belgium has always been a disappointment, especially when they play the World Cup. But yeah, so the Ecuador thing is, I'm, it's crazy. I just can't believe it how they are able to throw away this golden generation to the trash, and
They're on the
uh,
same amount of points as Curacao.
it's
The
insane.
same amount of points as Curacao.
That is insane. And Curacao in South America, it's like Ace Hardware store, literally. Like so people go get nails there and stuff in Curacao. But what I'm trying to say, it's like the Uruguay situation. It's pretty impressive and interesting because they come as they've been world champs back in the 1930s. So I mean they're back when the ball was made out of sheepskin, right? And when there was no offsides, right? When there was no VAR, certainly, but they were world champs, right? And they're very good. They're a very good team. Unfortunately, is that Marcelo Bielsa has yapped a lot,
Yeah.
yapping, going political, going rogue, not wanting to look at the camera on the pictures because of a political statement, and making, even though he was offered, this is the craziest part, even though he was offered to train in several facilities where Uruguay was going to be playing, he said, no, I don't want to be in the States. So he's making his fans and his team travel from Mexico to the States almost every freaking game. And it's pointless. It's more money, it's more logistics. And all because he says, oh no, Mexico does have soccer culture, the United States doesn't have soccer culture. So he's like boom, 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 yapping. In the meantime, you have Luis Suarez in the game. I don't know if you saw Luis Suarez.
Yeah, I saw him there. Yeah.
Dude wanted to go down and play himself. Sub him, hey, sub me in. Like, come on, dude. And I just feel bad for the Uruguayan fans because I mean, they travel from far. They're a small nation, but they're a rich nation that brings a lot of good footballers. And
Yeah.
it's just not fair to portray them. And I mean, it's insane how Cape Verde almost scores a third one. It was insane to me. And so now they are on the verge, just like you said. Yeah, they have to. So in order for Uruguay, this is the craziest part. If Uruguay they're gonna face Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Uruguay has to beat Spain not to depend of any results. So they beat Spain, they're top of the group, and then they expect a rival and see who they're going to play next. Spain then becomes second on in the standings essentially. Argentina right now they're top of the group, especially with this win against Austria. They're top of the
Mm-hmm.
group. They will face either they're going to face the second on Group H, which is going to be either Spain or Cape Verde. Because if Cape Verde beats Saudi Arabia, Uruguay is eliminated, and Cape Verde goes to the third spot, and Spain goes through. So it's just a clusterfuck. Pardon my French, but Uruguay looked for this, and this is tremendous. I mean, they've.
Well, and I'll say this, Luis. I don't think Uruguay can do it. I'm not convinced that this Uruguay team can get a result against Spain. Like I just don't. Like listen, Spain has not been the strongest team coming into this tournament. I mean, their last game obviously was the best one that they've had so far, but even so, I don't think Uruguay can't figure out how to get their guys going. They basically have Maxi Araujo and whatever else. They can't get Darwin Núñez going. They can't get Brian Rodriguez going. They can't get any of these other dudes going. And so I don't know how they're going to turn it on for Spain. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's pretty sad because so more than likely if touching to what you're saying, if Spain beats Uruguay, which is probably what's going to happen, that will mean that Spain will be top of the group. Yep. And if Cape Verde beats Saudi Arabia, then Cape Verde it will be second.
Yep.
Right? Which means that Argentina will face Cape Verde in the round of 32s. And to me, be completely honest with you, being, if I want to be, throwing away conspiracy theories and things like that, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like you're going to put Argentina facing Cape Verde. Now, and I understand football, anything can happen and all of that. But I think between Argentina with Uruguay is a way different leagues. And I mean, it's going to be crazy. Now, Uruguay can still go top of the group if they beat Spain. But I agree with you. I think it's highly undoubtful. I think it's doubtful, completely doubtful. So it's really happy to see teams like Cape Verde and Curaçao have semblances of success this tournament. This is exactly what I was hoping in the expanded tournament. Yeah, it's been the tournaments for Africa, the tournament for CONCACAF, and it shows that other teams, and this is what I'm trying to say, other teams are working on their craft and doing less noise. And CONMEBOL, on the other hand, if you take away Argentina, you take away Brazil, I mean, I guarantee you put this Curaçao team against Chile, Peru, Venezuela, and they're going to probably beat them. I mean, the way that we've seen right now, I mean, you even put Panama against them. They're going to go toe-to-toe. They're going to fight. They're going to fight. So, and I agree with you 100% there. Cape Verde got robbed too. There was a pretty bad takedown in the box late and no call from the refs. And when Cape Verde had a free kick in their own end of the game, and the ref, the ref was not good. Blew the whistle before they could get the kickoff. That's right. But yeah, so it's crazy. It's crazy. So let's look at the round of 32s and see who could be the potential matchups. Now, I am ready to go for the Colombia-Portugal game. So that's definitely going to happen. So it's going to be pretty awesome. We're definitely very happy to start this. Right here, let me pull that up. Fox has an image here. I need to download. Right here. There you go. And thank you to the 33 people watching. All right, there you go. So these are the round of 32. So right now we're looking at, I mean, Germany is going to face it could be the third best 8 teams, right? So, the Haiti and Turkey already out. Can you guys see it? Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. So now for the US are top, right? And they're going to face either the third spot of B, E, F, I, and J. So you're looking at, the United States could face Ecuador. They could be facing, you know, S- Switzerland or Bosnia, right? They could be facing also, um, hopefully not Sweden, but I mean, I
So
think,
I think Luis, according to the math, it's like a 58% chance they face Bosnia, the United
yeah,
States.
okay,
So most likely it'll be Bosnia.
Bosnia. Yeah,
Yeah, most likely.
that's gonna be a tough matchup, but I think the US can do it. I think the US can do it. Now, when it comes to Argentina, and let's talk about Argentina real quick. So, Argentina literally is poised to face Cape Verde or Spain. So, if Uruguay beats Spain, Uruguay goes top of the group. They're not going to face Argentina, but then Spain is going to face Argentina in the round of 32s in Miami, which is where I'm going to be. So I would love to, and I would love to see a Spain Argentina round of 32 game. I think it'd be fantastic. Don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, it'd be pretty incredible.
This is Mary Barcelona. Yo, quit the yapping and get to Santi Gimenez.
We're gonna get to Santi. We'll get to Santi.
Yeah, watch the whole show, but let me tell you, I mean, I don't want to break your heart. I mean, just wait till the end. That would be huge for us. Uruguay in the quarters instead of Spain. Yeah, it says Argentina Spain first round will break a whole lot of brackets. Yeah, and that'd be great because I mean you're talking about a whole stadium, a whole city, pretty much is Argentina 2.0 there down there in Miami, and the whole press room probably full of Argentinians. And then if Spain beats them and gets Messi out of the group in round of 32, that'll be a heartbreaker for everybody. So, but we'll see. I mean, I think it's important. I'm ready to see Japan, for example. Japan, see how Japan's going to do. I think it's going to be great. Portugal, I think they're going to face Colombia this weekend. We're going to be there. Portugal could be out too. I have a feeling that Colombia could win top of the group. The way they've been playing very convincingly.
And I'll say this: another matchup that comes more into focus because this team already punched its ticket is Mexico would have most like I think it's 48% right now that they would face Scotland in that round of 32 match, but then their next match would most likely the match that would go along the same side would be England, and then against one of the other opponents, it's either going to be Congo, Colombia, or Uzbekistan is the highest percentages. But I would imagine England gets through. And if that's the case, it would be England against Mexico in the round of 16 in Mexico City. That would be a crazy match as well. Because again, I think Mexico's a good team. I'm not ready to say they're a great team, but having the advantage of playing in Mexico City is gonna obviously be, beneficial for them. So that would be a matchup that I'm sitting there going, okay, this would be pretty cool to see if that ends up happening for sure.
Yeah. It says Argentina, Spain first round will break a whole lot of brackets. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the round of 32 starting, and that's when, you're going to see a lot. It's do or die. It's single elimination. I think that's fantastic. And eventually, we're going to see less teams and less teams. Obviously, we're not going to touch on who we're going to pick for our brackets because we may completely either aced our prediction or completely botched it. But certainly, like for example, I had no idea I was never counting on my first prediction bracket anything regarding Cape Verde or Curacao. You know, I
Yeah, I don't
thought it
think
was.
anyone really was.
I
Yeah.
thought that I also didn't expect Tunisia to play this horrible. I didn't expect Turkey to be so bad.
Turkey's been a disappointment, yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, the Turkish media ripped them because apparently I don't know if you guys know, but they've been asking for green M&Ms everywhere they go. They got to stay in like 5-star hotels. So like in the meantime, the U.S. is staying at Marriott's, like they're staying at Residence Inns or like Courtyard Marriott's or Fairfield Inns. You have Turkey A like asking for like Ritz Carlton and freaking like 5-star resorts. That's according to Turkish media.
Right.
So apparently, also listen to this. What Turkish media said is that they flew and paid their families of the players to come and stay throughout the whole World Cup, all
Mm.
expenses paid, and gave them an added bonus, a monetarily bonus, because they're leaving work and they're getting eliminated. So
That's
imagine
crazy.
that. It's insane. But anyways, let's see. One more question says Egypt is probably going to win the group. Yeah, I think Egypt is doing really good. Um, Egypt is a team that I think could upset someone in the first round. They look really good. Says
Yeah.
Luis. Thank you. Yeah, and I hope Mo Salah can come to the MLS. Yeah. So it says David G, is your beard soft?
I mean, yeah, it's not bad. I'll say that. It's not bad. I'm still working on it a little bit, but you know.
There you go. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate it. Yeah, so let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about, which is these rumors about but before we go into that, I wanted to give my kudos to the Orlando Soccer Celebration guys.
Oh yeah.
Um, so they're running this in Point Orlando, this massive festival. They're showing all the matches for the tournament. And I'm sure for all the people that work for Orlando City, it's probably a lot of work. And so kudos to you for being working while
Mm.
everybody's having fun. So number one, I do want to praise you guys for that. But I had a couple of family members that went there, and they said that it was amazing. The fan zones, the restaurants, they're able to see Orlando City Pride players signing autographs. So it was awesome. It says that it was that you had nothing. I had a family member that went to Russia and went to Qatar for the World Cup, and he said, "Yeah, it was to me a better atmosphere on fan zones on those countries. You know, it's just really electric. So kudos to Orlando City for doing that, and and definitely for the people also to show that they're you know soccer culture, right, quote unquote, right. So it's definitely it's turning Orlando into a premier destination for the beautiful game. And I have a feeling based on sources that we may get another Copa America here in Orlando. So it's going to be fantastic. Says I've been to the
Well,
sport and social a few times. Scotland versus Morocco was wild, amazing time. I think the Scottish are the best crowd. I think right now in the World Cup. Don't you think, David?
yeah, I mean they're great. Yeah, they're awesome. I don't know. I mean, I know the Aussies were pretty cool. I'm a little biased as well. I thought the Mexican fans were pretty awesome and pretty prolific and things like that. But obviously, I was in the thick of it, so you know, a little biased there. But no, I think there's been a lot of great fan groups. But the funny story about the Scots at the OCB game last night, there was a trio of them that were kind of like towards the front, and I guess they were just passing through to get to a game in Atlanta, I had heard, and they decided to just take in an OCB game because they found out it was happening. So they were there the whole time, and they were hilarious, man. They were so funny. They were involved even though they didn't really know any of the players, of course. They were screaming at the ref, they were screaming at the other team. Like they really were just in it. It was awesome. It was an awesome experience. They've been a lot of fun, I feel like, everywhere they've been so far. So it's just really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, I passed by one of them, and when I visited my mom in Orlando, and it was a tremendous atmosphere. I went with a family member, and we had a couple of beers, and then we saw the Morocco game there, and it was outstanding. I should have brought my microphone and get some footage of
Ask them
people,
some questions. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wasn't thinking about it. Seeing the
Yeah.
Scottish fans take over Boston was hilarious to see as the guy from New England. Yeah. What do you think of the John Denver song the US is singing now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they have a song. I think that a lot of teams have like a song that they sing or whatever it is. I mean, it's fine. It's a good song. Don't get me wrong, but
I
it's
mean,
fine.
it's from Fallout.
I mean, yeah, I don't have an issue with it, so much. So
I'm
whatever
just
works,
wondering. I'm just wondering if they've ever been to West Virginia.
maybe not. I don't know.
Probably
It's a good
not.
question.
You probably don't want to. You probably don't want to
Yeah,
go there. But
maybe.
no, but yeah. I mean, I think the to me it seemed very unfair when people from all over the world were criticizing the U.S. fans. I
Mm.
think, but Seattle. I mean, the electricity you felt in Seattle, it topped it all. I think because they're and I think it would have been the same if the the U.S. games would have been in Orlando, for example. I mean, if you compare the soccer culture when it comes to those cities, it's pretty electric in Seattle, especially with the Sounders, with Orlando City, right? So I think I'm glad that they're now being praised for doing a really cool chants rather than what is that chant that they were making fun of the
Oh,
this
the "I believe" chant. Yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No,
yeah.
that chant stinks. I'm not gonna lie, it's a
Yeah.
pretty bad
It is
chant.
over the US, the US. But they do it in
Oh man.
Orlando. They do it in Orlando. Don't they do it? They do it in Orlando.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just not a great chant.
It is
So I'm
over.
glad that they're trying to find other ones, but
Wh- Which one is better? Dale mi amor or the
I mean, that's asking for me to pick. I'm always going to side with the Orlando City chants, but I know that there's like a similar cadence around with other clubs and things like that. I just think with the United States having so many great teams in like MLS and obviously players being at much bigger clubs, it's about time that we come up with better chants. That's all I'm saying. It's
100%.
like we're at the point where like it's time for us to have some really good chants. And like I saw some people online trying to like come up with like player specific ones. That's always hard because you got to try to get
Yeah.
like people sucked in and all that kind of stuff. But like good on them for doing it, because I know that's one thing that Orlando doesn't do like as much anymore, as we don't go like player specific anymore. I know the supporter groups try to keep it like kind of general and light and things like that. So I wish we did a little bit more of that. So I like to see the player specific ones, but I don't know. I mean, I'll give them a chance to try to be more creative and figure it out.
I think it would be really cool, like for the wall to sing "Enter Sandman." I think that'd be
Yeah,
cool,
that's fair.
especially
Yeah,
when the going through the tunnel, man. That'd be so cool. But again, just a suggestion. I'm not even like. I think the John Denver song is an amazing song. Number one, I think it's a great song.
sure,
All
sure.
jokes aside, and I think it's a cool representation. And I love the fact that the U.S. fans took it,
Hmm.
and then they are running with it, and they're definitely showing now that they truly. I mean, soccer here has grown tremendously. There's nothing
Yeah,
to
no
feel
doubt.
ashamed of, and it's grown tremendously, exponentially. And so, obviously,
And the
for some
goal the
countries,
goal of this too is to get people to stick around after the World Cup is done, right? Like for
yeah,
MLS to profit from this big time is going to be like, when we're in Seattle, can you convince the folks that didn't go to Sounders games to continue to go to Sounders games, right? Or if you're
yeah.
in Atlanta, can you well, you probably don't want to be an Atlanta United fan, but whatever,
No,
right?
right,
When you're
right.
going to these venues, like I would rather have more fans that care about the team than fans that care about the player. I'm looking at you, Flamingos. Just fans that really care about the club that they're around. That's why, like, I feel bad for Orlando missing out on this opportunity. And I know it was tough because Camping World wasn't ready to go and they were going through their refurb
Well,
and all that. But it might be ready for Copa, like your point. And what I
it's
love
all
about that
about.
is it gives people the opportunity to potentially glob. And even if it's not an MLS club, even if it's a USL Championship club, or if you're in Naples and you support FC Naples, power to you, man. Like that's exactly what I want to see. Is I want to see them get more fans.
From my understanding, is that I don't know I don't know if Camper World's going to be part of the Copa America or if it's going to be Inter and Co. I know Inter and Co
No.
was, and I
Mm-hmm.
know for some on 2020 in 2024. And again, on a personal level,
Yeah.
because Orlando does not have a football team, even though the Jags are coming down, they're using Camping World. I do want to say it would be interesting to have Camping World as a bigger arena type of, kind of make it kind of like SoFi, you know what I mean? Or like Mercedes Benz, like that has a dome and stuff like that. I think, and obviously
Oh,
that will cost
yeah.
a
I don't
lot
know if
of
they're gonna go
invest.
that far.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that will cost a lot of investment, but I think in the end, I think it'll be really good. And eventually, as Orlando grows and hopefully wins championships, and hopefully with Griezmann, they can. I mean that the stadium, Interco Stadium, is expandable. I mean, it is. It was part of the talks that. I mean, yes, it is a 27,000 seater stadium, but with a
Mhm.
expectations of possibly expanding, and I think it's possible. I mean, and again, I think Orlando's
Well,
a
and Luis, let me say this too. Like, what's against us? When we build that fan base out, what's against us potentially going down the street to Camping World for our big games, right?
yeah,
And I don't mean like what Kansas City did with like when Messi came to town. I mean like
right,
when we know we're playing our rivals, Atlanta, Miami, whoever, why not go to Camping World for a game a year and just say, hey, we're going to do it over here because we know we're going to bring a ton of people in. So let's make this a truly like crazy environment, right? Like I'd
yeah,
love to see an opportunity where, when Man United plays Man City to have like that split crowd and that huge, it just would be really cool, right? It'd be a great opportunity. And from what I understand, the upgrades to Camping World are going to be really quality. So we'll see
yeah.
what that ends up looking like and how that turns out.
It says completely out of nowhere. It's just crazy to look back at the first game of OCSC's history and seeing Camping World sold out for an Orlando City game. I remember when they played a Newcastle United
Mm-hmm.
and on the red jerseys, and
Yeah.
that was in Camping World, and I mean there was dust in Camping World. That's how unused the stadium was. I mean, it was dust, like where you would go, like in the bathrooms and things, the cobwebs and things like that.
Mm.
Check that. It's in the proposal still. Tampa hasn't approved the money yet.
Oh, he's talking about the
But
Bucks renovating Ray J. Yeah.
yes, I heard about that as well. I think Camping World 2028, 2029 may be. I heard that it's moving to that to that the proposal they're very and it is per a friend of mine that works at the Bucks. I'm not gonna mention his name. He
Mm-hmm.
told me that the proposal for Camping World it is legit, and that Camping World is like yes. I mean they're getting the Jags in
I mean,
2020. I
yeah, I
mean
was
they're
gonna
getting
say, why
I mean they're
why
getting
would
the
you be
Jags for
against
one
it?
whole season, and now they're gonna get the Bucks.
Yeah.
Like let's go. I mean it's money there. Now with that money, what are they gonna do? To me, I wouldn't pocket it. I would just better the stadium, make it like a little bit like SoFi, make it more. You could put you could put concerts there. You can host more concerts. You could host more sporting events, bowls, bigger events. That you cannot host at Interco Stadium. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah.
it
Well,
says
and I'll say this, Luis. It still doesn't take Copa off of the table because
oh,
Copa's played in the
100%.
summer.
Mhm.
So technically, that would be between football seasons. So as soon as the football season would end, you would still have the opportunity if you wanted Camping World to host Copa America. Now, obviously, I'm biased. I'd rather Inter and Co do it because then that money goes right back to the club, and the club would be able to take that money and pocket it and do all those kind of things. But yeah, it'd be really interesting. Tom brought that up, and I didn't think about it at first because obviously I had heard about it. For those of you that don't know, I'm from Clearwater originally, so I'm from that neck of the woods. And so the Bucks are my NFL team. I grew up on them. I've been around them forever. So I'm biased too because I would love to go to a couple of Bucks games while they're
100%.
in Orlando, right? Like that'd be awesome. I don't
Yeah,
have to drive down to Ray J and do all that. But also like if we can split the money, so maybe those teams like the Jags for a year, the Bucks for 2 years are up at Camping World, but then maybe Inter and Co hosts Copa, right? Maybe
100%.
they save Camping World for the bigger games for Copa, but maybe they could do some other games at that stadium. How awesome would it be to see like I don't know Paraguay play? I don't know I don't know who in CONCACAF's going to be involved, but let's say it's one of the smaller teams that gets in for CONCACAF. That'd be cool to see, because I imagine like the US and Mexico will probably be representing from CONCACAF. I imagine if Canada does well, they'll represent for CONCACAF. So but it'd be cool to get some of the island nations in as well, like if Jamaica, Trinidad, one of them.
So they hosted so in 2024, Interco hosted Copa America, June 29th to July 1st, and they covered the games of Chile and Canada. So Chile, Canada, and then also Bolivia and Panama played in Interco. So like David is saying, like, think about it. Peru could play. Probably even like Bolivia again, maybe even Panama, right? I know, for example, for CONCACAF, are definitely going to be Mexico, Canada, United States, Jamaica, Panama, and that's 5 right there. So there's the 6th one. Probably is going to be, I will say, I say they'll either invite Haiti or Curacao. I think to me, I think, because, and the reason why, not to say, hey, Costa Rica, you cannot draw for crap, because Haiti, bro, everywhere they played, they packed. And
I was gonna say the island nations where they have an opportunity to really like represent their country would be awesome. Like, I can imagine that environment being really cool. Like, imagine a game of like Haiti against Peru and Internco, right?
Yeah.
Like, to represent you a little bit, right?
Yeah,
how awesome would that be?
It will sell out.
Yeah. Like, how awesome would that be to see something like that, right? And if Wilder's still with us, to see Wilder represent Orlando City in that stadium and represent his country at the same time, right? Like, how awesome would that be?
Right.
Like,
so,
or like Trinidad, if like Trinidad played at Inter and Co, and then like Spicer could be a part of Trinidad playing there, and then Orlando City legend Kevin Molino, if he's still kicking a ball around somewhere.
And not only that, like, because I know the people that work there, I can tell you it's going to be well run. Like there's not going to be no effing issues. There's going to be no situations in which people feel some type of way. I mean, one thing that I do want to say is, like, Enter and Co and the club, Orlando City, when it comes to the day operations, they have the best staff, in my opinion. And look, I've been to a lot of MLS places, a lot of MLS. I handle a lot of PRs. I think we have a really, really good team. So I'm full confident that if Copa America comes to Inter and Co again, it's going to be great. Now, let's dive in real quick into the rumor, right? So there is a rumor that was buzzing about AC Milan striker Santi Gimenez coming into Orlando City. From my understanding, if I'm reading correctly here, they said it was going to be a $30 million offer. I don't know if you want to kind of speak your piece there, David, on this, and then I can kind of tie into it.
Yeah. So, okay. So let me try to give as much context as I can. And I want to shout out, before I get started, all of our folks that are in the Discord, because I've been posting little pieces here and there as I'm able to put the picture together. So it should give people a better understanding of kind of how these rumors come about. So what was really interesting is, and it kind of broke over the weekend, on June 18th, so a couple days ago, 4 days ago, there was a Mexican paper or outlet that put out there that there was a rumor that Orlando City was interested in Santiago Gimenez to join Orlando City in partnership with Gignac. Now, we already know that Tom Bogert said Gignac is not coming to Orlando City. And Luis and I don't want to speak for Luis, but I think he agrees, we're not interested in bringing in Gignac. So I hope to God that Gignac is not the package deal with this. But the Mexican source said that based on some people that they heard rumors from, is that number one, AC Milan was not interested in holding on to Santiago Gimenez anymore. Because for those of you that don't know, this season he was plagued by injuries. He missed I think he missed like in total 120 days, which equated to like 17 or 18 matches. So he missed a lot of time with a bum ankle. That was his main injury this season. And then number two, he fell out of favor with AC Milan's manager, who parted ways with the club this past season anyway. So those were like the two things, right? The biggest rumor with that was that what Luis just mentioned was that Orlando City was going to come in and pay 30 million euros to buy Santiago Gimenez from Milan, and that we were going to pay him a salary of 4.6 million euros plus incentives. So that was the first rumor that came out. That was from a Mexican outlet. So I went down the rabbit hole, was trying to figure out where they got the original Mexican sources from. There were a few Mexican outlets that came out and said, I'm in Mexico, and this is what we're hearing from Mexico. The first person to put news out there that kind of confirmed that there was definitely interest was a journalist by the name of Carlos Pasarini, who's in Mexico right now to cover the World Cup. He's an Italian journalist who is in Mexico to cover the World Cup. He mostly covers the Milan teams. AC Milan and Inter Milan are the two clubs that he follows. He put out a video, it's on my Twitter, where he says that the interest from Orlando City is real, and that is what he has also heard on the ground in Mexico. So that's the Mexican side of it. This is what we've heard, right? If you look at the Italian side of it, because now that's where we're starting to get more news and more information from, Inter Milan confirmed through a bunch of different mediaries. The only thing that they have right now is a manager. They don't have anything else. They don't have a technical director right now. A lot of their front office positions are gone. So right now they really just have a manager. What they were able to confirm, though, is that the manager does not have Santiago Gimenez in his plans for next season. So he's not interested in keeping Santi Gimenez for next season. They think there are better striker options. The manager they're bringing in is Portuguese, so he's looking at Portuguese strikers and all that kind of stuff. So Gimenez is not in the plans for Milan next season. With that attachment as well, at the same time, Gimenez is open to a move, and it's been rumored that he's linked to two other Italian teams. One of them is Lazio. That came out publicly 2 days ago. The other one we're not sure about. And then there is one team in La Liga who is also interested in the striker as well. But the interest from Lazio, the other Italian team, and the Spanish team are just, okay, is he available? Is he someone that we could potentially move for? The last sort of big kind of update to the whole Santiago Gimenez rumor mill that's been going around, I think that's the best way to put it, is Fabrizio Romano put out a video yesterday talking about the rumor of Santiago Gimenez leaving AC Milan. And he put it on his Italian channel. So I had to do a lot of translating and back because I know a little bit of Italian. I used some family members that are fluent in Italian to try to go through the video. But what I was able to find out is that Fabrizio Romano, and for those of you that don't know, Fab is pretty well known in the transfer market across the world. He confirmed that Orlando City has interest, that Orlando City definitely has interest. But what he did say is that an offer has not been sent to Milan yet, and an offer has not been sent to the player yet. So, with all of that context, let me wrap it up in a nice bow so everyone understands. The interest is real. From what I have heard from my side and the people that I spoke to, there is legitimate interest. What I will say very quickly, though, is Orlando City is not paying 30 million euros to bring in Santiago Gimenez. There is no interest for the club to spend that much money. Anyone who has been following Orlando City for that long knows the club will not spend 30 million euros on a player. They just won't. What I will say, though, is, and try to remind people of, when we were in talks to bring Richarlison over last year, because remember there were talks about that, we were willing to offer Spurs up to 20 million euros to bring Richarlison over. So that has been floated out there before, and this was under Ricardo Moreira's reign. So this wasn't under Muzi's reign, this was under Ricardo Moreira. The other thing Fabrizio Romano said and reminded people is that Ricardo was the same person that went to Spain and convinced Griezmann to come over and all that kind of stuff, and ended it with the idea that when Ricardo has a player in his sights that he really wants, he's very good at going in and getting business done, right? So the question then becomes, I think, and I'll let Luis kind of put his thoughts in at this point, is number one, is if Milan is not willing to step off the 30 million euros, which is what they paid for him in the first place from PSV, does Orlando City pony up 30 million euros? I think the answer to that is no. And we'll see what Luis thinks in a second here. Number two, the salary thing that everyone keeps floating around is not an issue. Santiago Gimenez would be a DP for Orlando City. So salary doesn't matter. Salary and transfer fee, if he becomes a DP, doesn't matter. And he'd have to be a DP because of how much they'd be willing to offer him. So he'd be a DP regardless. They could pay him 4.6 million euros. They could pay him 10 million euros. It doesn't matter. The money for DPs comes out of the ownership's pocket. So as long as the ownership is willing to pay for it, that's all that matters. The third question, and the one that people haven't really been able to understand yet is Santiago Gimenez even interested in coming to Orlando City? The only outlet that has reported on it was that Italian reporter who was in Mexico. And he said that Gimenez is interested in the idea, but he's more interested in staying in Europe. So that's where the whole situation stands right now. So if the player's not interested in leaving Europe, it doesn't matter what happens unless Orlando City is willing to throw a whole bunch of money at him to convince him to come over. So what I'll close with saying with all of this is, this continues to go down the route, though, of what Luis and I have talked about throughout the entire offseason so far with all the rumors. Orlando City's looking for an attacker. There's no argument about that at this point. Is Santiago Gimenez that attacker? I don't know yet. But what I can tell you is they are definitely looking for an attacker, because now we've been linked to him. We've been linked to McCurry, who just went to Fenerbahce. Which this got disproven, but Gignac, Richarlison came back up again. Icardi came up again as well. So that's 5 strikers we've been linked to in this transfer window, which means there is smoke to the fire that we're trying to bring in an attacker. So, Luis, I'll turn it over to you at this point, but real quick, I think Gimenez is a good option. I'm not convinced he's a great option. And so I think that's where I get hesitant to spend 20 million euros and whatever, 5 million euros of a wage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to start by saying that Santi Gimenez, it's not going through the best momentum right now when it comes to being a footballer. That's one of the reasons why they don't want him in Italy. He killed it with Feyenoord. I think based on what we currently have as a team, yes, I think he would be a better asset, and it's an asset that will come on a really good age, and with the opportunity of being one of the faces of the club, and why not? Now, obviously Mexican national team and all of that. Now, per sources and what I know, because I asked about this, I was told that they said whoever threw the Gignac thing too. So pretty much I'm interested in eating Gardettos at the 7-Eleven. You know what I mean? I'm interested in eating a burrito from Taco Bell sometimes, you know. I'm interested into going to go see Masters of the Universe at AMC and getting my He-Man drink sword, you know. I'm interested into maybe getting new Hey Dudes, you know, for the U.S. men's national team. But that's interest, right? But reality is, per sources, what I've been told is that there's really no offer. There's really no, they don't know where they got that from. It's probably coming from a source that it's close to the agent, and the agent's trying to, you know, and it's known. It happens in soccer, you know, that now, are they interested in other players and they're looking into boosting other positions? Yes, a defender, and yes, a striker. Why not? But right now, Santi Gimenez, it's out of the picture from what I've been told. Now, that doesn't mean that he will be a phenomenal signage for Orlando City. And I think what David said about the DP situation, I think it's true. I think about it. I mean, it's up to the Wolves, right? I mean, the DP rule allows clubs to acquire players whose total compensation and acquisition cost exceed the maximum salary budget charge. So if the club ownership is going to bear the financial responsibility for the amount above the cap, then, you know, they could do it if he's DP, right? So so there's no constraints when it comes to cap on that level, you know, like David was saying, you know, if they were willing to offer, which I don't know if the Richarlison offer was true or not. I didn't check on that, but if he's saying that they offered 20 million for Richarlison, then, you know, definitely makes sense. You know, well, why not 10 more, right? And, you know, what is 10 more, right? Now, but the reality of the rumors are a different story. Now, I don't know if Santi. I mean, I would love for Santi to come down. I mean, I think he's a tremendous pickup. I mean, I think he would kill it in the MLS, in my opinion. Now, is it feasible if the Wolves want to? Yes. Is it something that maybe Ojeda and Pasalic maybe bought down? You know, Pasalic maybe leaving, and then Ojeda's bought into TAM, and then Gimenez is bought, bought in. Of course, I mean, all of that could happen. You know what I mean? There could be other options, like for example, selling Martin Ojeda back to South America. Moving Pasalic to our European club, frees up 2DP spots right there. So there's a lot of things that could happen, but from my understanding is that there's right now no. It's just a rumor that has came up, and they pretty much told me that it's.
Well, let me say this, because again, I'm not going to be here to question Luis's sources, nor does he question mine. But what I will say, compared to other rumors, is when you get people like Fabrizio Romano and people who are in the space that are a little bit more reputable, because Fabrizio isn't one, for the most part. There are times where he just throws shit out there. Excuse my language, but he just does. For the most part, though, he is somebody who is very plugged in to certain spaces. And one of those spaces that he's plugged into is AC Milan. He has that Italian connection. So what we could be seeing here is kind of twofold. If Orlando City is really not interested, and who knows, they could be, Luis's source could just be saying, no, we're not doing anything. And maybe they do something later if the price is right, or if things change, or whatever it is, right? But what I will say is, when it comes to Fabrizio, what he's doing in terms of what he's confirmed in his video is that all he said is that there is interest. There are a ton of clubs that are interested in a ton of different players, right? Interest means nothing until you start making deal memos, right? Hey, we'll give you this for that. We'll pay you this for that. So nothing is given, right, at this point.
Yeah, but but I want to push into that, because that comes from Italy. Like, this is coming from an outlet that has covered the club for over 5 years now. So if you don't, and I'm telling this to the people that are watching, if you don't see Gramajo, myself, Alonso, the people that are there, the mainland, putting this out, then it could be. It's probably not. It's probably not heading to that direction.
To play devil's advocate, Luis, though, you guys don't report on transfer rumors. That's just a fact. So I get what you're saying, like in terms of credibility and all that kind of stuff, but we can't also sit here and question the credibility of somebody like Fabrizio Romano.
Well, no one is questioning his credibility. No one's questions credibility. It's like, you guys are assuming that this is going to happen, and what I was told was that's not.
I'm not making assumptions. I just comment and quote on transfer rumors.
Like, there's no. I mean, yes, it could happen later on, but right now, as what it stands, what I've been told is that they're not. They pour cold water on the hype. Essentially, that's pretty much what they did. So now, I don't think Fabricio said that Orlando was interested in Gimenez. Yes, of course. I mean, who wouldn't be? Like, he's a great player, right? So it's just, to me, it seems like it's common sense. Of course, who wouldn't be? I mean, I think Philly will be also interested. I think anybody will be interested in Santi Gimenez. I mean, he's a tremendous player, but I just think that right now, yes, we're reporting all the rumors, and that's fantastic. But I mean, it's not. It's right now seems a little unlikely. I think Orlando may be looking for something else. That's what I've been told. So and again, yeah,
well,
I mean,
and we're all welcome in this space. The people that you named, yourself and everybody else, are more than welcome to point everyone in the right direction if the rumors are that far off. But so far, and I understand the fans that are out there that were really thirsty, I guess is the best way to put it, for rumors and information. And so by all means, when things come out there, and that's kind of what I do. And I want to make that clear. I'm not over here wish casting anything when I report on this stuff, guys. And I think those of you that have watched us long enough know that. I'm over here just reporting the chatter that's out there, and then I provide context, because I think it's important for fans to understand the context of what it is. And You can't just believe everything that gets put out there, right? As Luis and I have just talked about for the past 10 minutes, right? What you need to do though is that the questions that I try to answer is, does Gimenez even fit? Like, can he fit on this team? Is there a roster spot for him to exist? Okay,
Oh,
if there is, where does he fit, right? As I just talked about, he'd be a DP and all those kind of things. So those are the questions I'm trying to tackle. And then every once in a while, I'll throw my opinion hat in the ring and I'll say, I think he's a good player. I don't think he's going to fit well or whatever it is, right? And I think we've been clear about, like, for example, Luis isn't the biggest Richarlison guy, but we've talked about other strikers that he is a fan of. And so these are all things that, to put it into context, of things that we want to look at, because again, we do it because we want the team to be better, right? That's the whole goal.
Yeah. Plus, I do want to add one more thing that I was kind of told in a way. They're still paying Luis Muriel.
Yeah.
So they have. So you know what I'm saying? Like they're still paying Luis Muriel. So I that's where it. I mean, again, the Wolves could say, "Hey, man, just make the check. Who cares, right? Like, but make him a DP. Just make the check, 100%." But knowing Orlando, and based on what I was told, is like they are looking for. Yes, Santi Gimenez is a phenomenal number 9. He's on they hope that he has some minutes in the World Cup, but right now, money wise, the math is not there. And not only that, but they told me straight up, like, I don't know where they got that from. Like, completely stopped me, like right there. Like, not even say a word after that. Like, to me, I said, okay, well, like, because I said Fabrizio Romano and everybody, and says like, yeah, it's right now we're looking, but it's not. We're thinking about another situation, other things. Like they didn't really address Santi at all, and they put pretty much pour cold water on the hype on that. And so I wanted to bring that to the fandom because I think they deserve to know. But again, talking to what you're saying, I think Santi Gimenez will be a great player if we decide to sign him. I think, and if he decides to come as well, I think it'll be a great signing, a number 9 striker that could put out a lot of goals, like he did in Feyenoord. I think he comes into an underwhelming 16 appearances, 0 league goals, and just 1 assist because he also had an injury, right, that he had to take care of. But I mean, his numbers with Feyenoord are bar none impressive. I mean, they're on another level. They're elite.
Oh yeah, I mean, he went off. Like, he went off when he was in the Eredivisie. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
He was scoring hat tricks and 4 goals a game, like in a really tough competitive league.
And I think my biggest thing from the research that I've done, because obviously with the rumor swirling around, I did more research on him. I've known about him for a bit, but I've never, sat down and watched his games. For what reason would I do that? But from what I did see, I think he's the profile of striker that you would expect this team to go after. And again, I think that's where the bigger threads are at, even if a rumor is completely false, let's say, and like however we got linked. But there is for the most part, there's a thread of striker that you look at where you're like, okay, Orlando City, like, we're not looking for a target man. Like, Lukaku hasn't been linked to us, or anybody that's like of that target aspect, right? And so that might give us a tip of like, okay, maybe the club isn't looking for a target striker. Maybe they're looking for a mobile striker or a striker who can create for himself to partner with somebody else. Because the other thing I've seen online that I just want to address real quick, Luis, is that some people out there that maybe aren't as plugged into Orlando City are like, we're not going to go for another striker. I don't agree with that mentality. Just because we brought Griezmann in doesn't mean we won't go and get another. And I'm not going to say striker because I think we're just looking for another attacker. I don't think that limits us from going to get another attacker. Because, guys, the way you should think about it is this. We've said this on the show for a while. We think Pasalic is definitely gone because we think he's going to do well enough. He's going to have offers come in, and Orlando City's going to sell. They're going to do, if he wants to go to Europe, they're going to let him go back to Europe. And I think that's what's most likely going to happen. They're going to want a 3-headed monster up front to scare teams when they go and play them, because you're going to have Griezmann, you're going to have Tincho, who's in his prime right now. I don't think anyone can argue that. And then think if you can add a third body to that list of attack who can also score goals and create and do all the things that you want to do, that's a scary proposition, right? I know defense needs to be addressed. We've talked about it. Luis and I have heard things from people a ton that says we're going to address defense. We're going to talk about defense. We're going to find ways to do it. I have no doubt that they're going to address defense, but I don't know that it's necessarily going to be at the level that people expect the club to do that. Now, unless Marquinhos, if that rumor was true and still exists, unless Marquinhos is going to come through the door, then I'd say absolutely sign him to a DP deal and let's get out of here. And
Yeah,
let's not think second about it, right?
Yeah, which again, it went cold, and again, and no one
Well, he's
said,
in the World Cup, so maybe that's why it went cold. Who
right.
knows?
So I mean, again, we don't know, how many teams has he been talking to, but I mean, if you ask the question, just like Santi, if he would be a great fit for Orlando, 120%. I mean, I think he'll be a great fit for the league. I think he'll be great for the league itself to have somebody like Marquinhos, somebody like Santi Gimenez in Orlando City. And I think that's the ambition that fans are wanting from the front office. You know what I mean? And I do have and again, this is just a feeling. I have a feeling that I think the front office is going to be able to, there's going to be a lot of contracts that are going to expire. I don't know if it's going to be this season, because this season they're very gung-ho on getting the US Open Cup. Again, they're putting all eggs in that basket. But depending if they win it or not, then I think a lot of the changes you will see in the upcoming months after the league is over. I don't know. Hopefully they add another 2 signings or 1 more signing while Griezmann, while Griezmann is here. 1 or 2 more signings, I think. Maybe 2 signings, including Griezmann, so it'll be 3 total. Hopefully, I mean, that's what what I've been told, that's what they're expecting. But if it's not possible, they're also, and that's what I've been told, they fully trust the squad to ride it till the end of the year with what they have, and then make the changes.
That's a scary proposition.
Make the changes. Because, I mean, think about it. I mean, common sense, right? So common sense, and the way that kind of the club is thinking, in a way. You win the US Open Cup, you automatically put out the fire on the fan base, because
not
to you, but to the casual fan, yes, and to the fans that are going to go see Griezmann, yes.
So I was going to say that's what the casual fan's going to care about. The Griezmann part is the part that the casual fan's going to care about.
So we got a cup, and the aim for the club, what I've been told, the aim of the club is we go all out for the cup. We win the cup.
Sure. Yeah, you're 2
and
months
then
away.
we aim short-term goals. That's exactly what they told me. Short-term goals. What's it? Okay, so we got the cup. Okay, what's the next short-term goal? 8th seat. 8th seat. Not 5th seat. Not supporter shield. This is with Griezmann already.
Yeah.
And again, you may think, oh, how mediocre of Orlando City. Oh, that's not how I want my club to think. But I mean, there's no promotion relegation in the MLS. I mean, be completely commonsensical.
Yeah,
here.
We're lucky for that.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no promotion relegation. So they can take that luxury of having short-term goals when it comes to the club. So I think we're going to see a full-on upheaval, because a lot of there's going to be some players that are going to be probably leaving. Players are going to be sold. There's going to be trades. I think if it doesn't happen, because they're aiming for 2 signings, including Griezmann, and 2 signings, probably 1 defensive and probably 1 offensive, which is what you broke out, which is fantastic. And the rumor mills and all that, which is completely true. The rumors and all that.
I think unless people go out, I think if they end up like getting offers for other people, then maybe that changes the math a little bit. But you never know until
right. So that's what I'm saying. So a defensive one, and an offensive one, plus Griezmann, right? And that's where they're aiming. If they cannot get the right players, those 2 right players, more than likely what we're going to see is we're going to ride with what we have. We're going to aim for 8th spot. there's going to be some L's, there's going to be some draws, there's going to be some boring stuff, there's going to be some Perlman stuff, there's going to be some post presses for Perlman till the end of the year. And then at the end of the year, they're going to evaluate, and then there's going to be enough caps, not only cap space, but also contracts that are expiring, players that are going to be traded, people that want to leave the club. Even some of the youngins may find a new club. You know what I mean? And that's when we're going to be seeing like all of that even more. Like, and I think there's a higher possibility to get somebody like Santi or somebody like a more prolific guy at the end, almost at the end, than right now after the Griezmann signing. So I mean that's kind of like what I've been explaining.
Can I make one comment about that? And I'm not arguing against what you've heard. That's not what I'm saying when I say this from a fan perspective. Because again, I come mostly as a fan first. I'm not a journalist by trade. What I will say is that as a fan, I'm disappointed in that explanation because remember, and you know, Luis and I, and even when John was still with us before he went back to England, shout out to John, miss you, buddy. What I want to say is we were promised. Remember what Ricardo Moreira said to Mike Gramajo at the end of last season, and then he said it again at the beginning of this year. He was building this team to win multiple trophies. So winning US Open Cup and skirting into 8th place isn't winning multiple trophies. And so I get it. Circumstances change, right? I get it. I understand that. Circumstances change. No doubt about it. The front office didn't expect to have this start to the season, right? I'm aware of that. I get that. But for us to sit here and act like when we're going to move the goalpost and we're okay with that, I'm not going to be in that camp. I'm sorry, but I'm just not. I want Orlando City to lift an MLS Cup. I want them to lift a supporter shield. And I understand that at this point, you can't lift a supporter shield this season. You're too far gone at this point to get that 100%. Goal. But why isn't this team saying, yes, let's go for the US Open Cup, which I agree with. Go for the US Open Cup. You should. You're 2 wins away from winning that thing. But why isn't this team also saying we could get 5th place? We could potentially get 4th place if we play the rest of the season correctly. Hell, we could potentially win Leagues Cup if we want to compete in Leagues Cup. I don't want to, but if the club wanted to, they could compete in Leagues Cup.
Well, because they don't want to overhype you. That's the reason why. Because they don't want to overhype the fans. So,
but then don't say what you said in the beginning of the season. Well, if you don't want to overhype fans, you don't say what you said in the beginning of the season.
Because the way they think is you cannot build Rome in 1 year. So obviously, Pareja.
But that's what we were sold.
Well, exactly, and again, that's something that they're gonna have to live with. But they kind of they backtracked, right, on some of the decisions, but they did let go. I mean, they did parted ways with Pareja, which in a way was a 2-deal thing, right? It was Pareja wanted to go, and then them saying,
sure.
Okay, you can go.
Yeah.
So and they ended in good terms. But you know, again, if you think about it in a logical sense, and again, I'm trying to be devil's advocate here. I agree with you. I mean, I would love for Orlando City to be the most winningest club in the league, 100%. I want them to have like multiple MLS Cups. I want them to have a bigger stadium. I mean, trust me, I do. But I also understand the way I was explained is that it's definitely right now because of how the team is right now. They're aiming at shorter goals, attainable shorter goals. Because if they go and shoot high, double or nothing, all in, they could get burned. And then all they're going to get is just more dissatisfaction rather than short-term goals. Like, for example, okay, we got the US Open Cup. We got another trophy, guys. Okay, great. Huge hype.
Yeah.
Griezmann video. Thank you, guys. You guys are the best fans in the world. We love you. Blah, blah, blah. You know, and then we go and boom, we aim short-term goals, 8th, 9th seed. We go hopefully a deep run in the playoffs. I understand you as a fan and a lot of other fans that are very vocal are not going to be satisfied because they did not get the end result, which is the MLS Cup. I understand that. But an 85% will have the expectation that now with Griezmann on the following season, they're gonna be able to kind of bring their Chris Bosh and and their Dwayne Wade for LeBron James, which would be obviously Antoine Griezmann, right? And so
Yeah.
I understand what you mean, but also I kind of understand the shorter terms, going
Right.
little by little, because if you shoot too high and you don't make it, you know what I mean? Then you have a repeat of what you're mentioning, right? You were promised something and it didn't become, you know, and that's why they don't want him, sure. So I think that's
Can
why
I
they
can I play
want the shorter
devil's
goals.
advocate on one thing?
Mhm.
Just one thing I want to play devil's advocate on. I get it. I hear you. I understand the club changing its goalposts and trying to get more achievable things and all that. I understand that. As someone who can tactfully understand that, I get it. Obviously, my fan brain takes over a majority of the time because again, I'm a fan and that's just kind of the way it goes. But my bigger thing, I think, and I've talked about this all season, and I know, Luis, you probably, maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but this should be coming from the horse's mouth with stuff like this. Like, I get it. They've explained it to you, and that's awesome. And I've had the opportunity as well. I've been blessed with the opportunity to speak with people from the club before in various different functions and just out there. I don't do it in a press capacity. We just kind of chat. What harm would it be to reset expectations before the season kicks off again? Like, what
I, I
harm would it be to get in front of the fans and say, hey, we had a rough start to the season, but this is what we're looking forward to in the second half, right?
Yeah, and I agree with you, but it's just that a lot of clubs worldwide, I mean, they don't. I mean, I've never seen a club, unless it's a championship team or if it's like maybe a community organized club, not a business,
Mm-hmm.
asking for the fans further full on about it. Like, hey, do you think we should sign this player? Like, tell me, what can I do with my accounting here? You know what I mean? So they they just make those decisions, right? And then they either live through it, through the negative or
Mm-hmm.
through the bad decisions, or
Mm-hmm.
they say, hey, see, I did it. You see, I promised that I delivered, right? So it's kind of like politics in a way, right? It's unfortunate, but it happens in soccer all the time. So you see it on big clubs, see it in smaller clubs. Now, I agree with you. I think honesty is the best way, and I think it's fine. But think about it in a logical sense too. Martin Ojeda took a season and a half to get to the Martin Ojeda level that you see now. Ivan
Sure.
Angulo, a season to get to the level that he is now. And it's probably not his full potential still. Same with Cartagena when he first arrived from Emirates, from United Arab Emirates,
Sure.
came to
Yeah.
Orlando
Yeah.
City. Pedro Galicia, when he came first from Mexico, he wasn't too hot either when he first arrived. So a lot of these players think about a season to get used to MLS. You already are playing this season with a couple of players that are the age is prime, which is like Luis
Mm-hmm.
Otavio, with his the Brazilian kids, Thiago, right? You also are bringing Justin Ellis. So you have the Guskies, you have a lot of the young kids that
Yeah.
probably next season, like when this window is over and this year's over, we have a cup, we go to deep run in the playoffs, but we didn't make it, let's say, but we go
Mm-hmm.
deep. Those kids are going to be used to all of that. So commonsensically, next year should be a better year because now you have players that are used to
Well,
playing,
that's assuming they progress. I mean,
right?
we're making
Which
assumptions there,
which
but yes, that's assuming they
which which
progress.
which which we should have trust on our players, right?
If they
And
get playing time,
right, and right, we should have trust on our
because that's the thing, they
players,
have to get playing
right?
time. Yeah.
We should have trust. Also, they have to evaluate. Think about it. They have to evaluate: is Perlman gonna stay, right? Right? Or which more than likely,
Well, and I think that's the genesis of all of this, right? Is I think with the season you're describing, is that enough for the front office to keep Martin Perlman? And I think the answer to that is probably yes, right? If he wins an
well,
Open Cup and he gets this team into the playoffs, and let's say they win 2 playoff games, right? That's probably enough to keep Perlman's job, right?
I hope not. But
I agree. From my fan hat doesn't say that. My fan hat says I want a manager who can do more, but
it just seemed that the decision for him to stay till the end of the year has a lot to do with the Open Cup, because they feel like, he's building this group. He didn't get a chance. I mean, if you think about it, yes, he was part of the pareja. He was part of the pareja. What's it called? Preseason thing in Mexico.
sure,
But he really wasn't in charge. He never got a full preseason, right? So now, I mean, and I think even Perlman has said it. This is his preseason, right? So now the club is like, okay, we're going to give you till the end of the year. You got to show us what you got. And he already knows, per sources, he already knows if we don't do good, like, I'm bound to the axe, right? And again, it's going to open a whole situation. But you have to understand, he getting a cup, right? Even though you're laughing right now, which I'm laughing too, getting a cup though, it's gonna even help Perlman, because he's probably gonna find
but you know what trophy Oscar Pereja won us when he was here?
You Open Cup.
So why does that make Perlman any different? I want a manager who's going to win me MLS Cup. I don't want a manager who's going to win me Open. Listen, I'm not here saying I don't want the Open Cup. If we win the Open Cup, great. I'll take whatever cup we get. But I want more than that. And if Perlman isn't going to raise that bar, then we're stuck. We're stuck in. So let me say this. I don't agree with the mentality that you can't bring in a prime manager to come in and win 2 more games in the Open Cup. I don't believe that. Any manager who's been in a competition before, regardless if it's international level or whether it's domestic level or whatever it is, a good manager to great manager, which I want a great manager, that's what I'm looking for, can come in and win you 2 more games. If Pochettino doesn't sign with US Soccer and Orlando City brings out their wallet and pays him $8 million to be manager, are you telling me that Pochettino can't come in here and win 2 more games? Of course he can.
I agree with you. Common sense makes a lot of sense, but there's more than that, because the way they see it is that. The way they see
relationships and other things. I get it.
The other way they see it is they also care about the group and the players. And from my understanding is, yes, maybe Perlman is not as hot with the young kids. Some of the young kids in OCB, maybe he's not as hot. That's
which
probably
wild,
why,
because he coached them.
Right. But that's the rumor, right? But if you ask the core. You ask the Angulos, you ask the Ojedas, you ask the Justinellises, they are with Perlman. So if you right now you're 2 games out for a cup, right? And you say, okay, thank you, Martin. Go to West Virginia, little mama. I won't take you home, right? And then he goes and leaves, and then we bring, let's say, Mourinho, right? We bring Mourinho, right?
What, after he flames out of Real?
right. Mourinho can win you 2 games, 100%. I am with you, but the players may not function, even though they're professionals. They're gonna make it work. Probably they're not gonna function. So you're gonna kind of disrupt that glueness that they're currently having now.
Luis, there's 2 things that come to mind real quickly for me. Number one is, was this what was pitched to Antoine Griezmann? Is this what was sold to Antoine Griezmann when they talked to him? Obviously, he's aware of the situation now. His head's not in the ground, right? He knew about this when he signed on the dotted line.
From my understanding, and again, I guess I'm speaking too much now, because I never tweet, guys, because but whatever. But
no, but this is your outlet. That's fine. Twitter doesn't have to be your outlet. This can be. It doesn't matter what it is.
From my understanding is that he's had several conversations with.
Okay. My second point.
Also, you have to understand he doesn't want to be treated. And again, this speaks really highly on Antoine Griezmann.
Sure.
He doesn't want to be treated like CR7, like Messi, like
Yeah, he's a humble guy. Yeah.
He's
Yeah, for sure.
So
And I've
if
heard a ton about that so
right.
far. Yeah.
So if Angulo in a training yells at him, "Hey, bro, pass me the ball," he's not gonna say, "Who the hell are you, man? How many champions have you
I'm
won?"
him. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Griezmann's gonna be like, "Okay, bro, let me pass it to you." Right? So he's
Yeah.
super humble. If Justin Ellis bumps into him in a scrimmage, he's not gonna fight with the kid. He's gonna be like, picking him
Sure.
up. I've been told he's a group guy. He's a
Yeah, for
very
sure. And I've
now
heard nothing different, so I agree. Yeah.
and that's his leadership style. He's more of like a collective guy more than an
But
individual.
let me play devil's
Now,
advocate, and this was my second point, real quick.
I
Is
but I agree
Griezmann
with
though
you.
gonna manage the team? Because if he's gonna call a lot of the shots, then that doesn't mean this is Perlman's team. This is Griezmann's team at that point.
No, I think he's a locker room leader, but I think he's gonna allow, for what I've been told, Perlman to.
Okay.
He's gonna allow Perlman to. He's the coach,
Okay.
right? Now, I do agree with you because I've lived it with Nani.
Right. Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah.
It got into a point, and again, this could happen too. With Nani, for example, it got into a point during the MLS's back tournament. Pareja,
The real ones know about that one.
right? Pareja in the whole tournament, each match he had a plan, but the plan on the pitch wasn't working, and some of the players were having some tough issues with the plan. So what would Nani would do is on the fly will gather the troops and say, "Hey, instead of going right, let's go left." And so Nani will go left.
That's some sneaky stuff right there.
And would score.
Right.
Orlando City win. And then they go back into the locker room, and Pareja's like, "What the hell happened? You guys were supposed to go right." It's like, "Well, boss, we went left because I felt." And so this started causing, and this is per sources, to start causing some friction between. That's why Nani left. That's what I was told. That's why Nani decided, okay, I think it's time for me to, I'm not going to win this battle. I think Pareja's going to be staying here. So,
and I'll say this: I think it's unlikely that Griezmann does that, right? I don't think he's that kind of guy. But my question is that if it gets to the point where, because Griezmann's played for a lot of different managers over his career, right?
Yeah.
If Griezmann comes in though,
most
sure. But if he comes in though and he sees that, like, hey, this guy doesn't have it, and he knows how close Perlman is with the front office, which he has great relationships with the front office and the ownership group and all that kind of stuff. That's not a secret, and that's good. I'm glad he has those relationships. Is there going to be a point where Griezmann steps up and says, "No, wait a minute, we can do better than this, or we should be doing this instead"? Where does it get weird, right? Like, where does the power dynamic shift? Right?
At that point,
and that's my question.
At that point, think about it. Do you think the front office is gonna?
Yeah.
In any job in the private sector, do you see your boss dirtying his hands for you? Yeah, so let's say, okay, you guys that work in the private sector, let's say you make an honest mistake, and it's an honest mistake, right? And you own up to the mistake, but then your manager still comes and writes you up and possibly fires you for the mistake. Now you have managers that are ethical and they're like, no, I know this guy and they're gonna vouch for you. This guy has my full trust. We gotta go. But sometimes if the mistake is so big, let's say, for example, 8-0 loss against Inter Miami in Orlando, right? Right?
Yeah.
The mistake is so big, you as a manager, and it doesn't matter how good this guy is to you, how nice he is, you have the power to change things, and you got to use that power to change things around to better your company. Otherwise, then you're not doing your job, right? So I think they're not going to have this. I don't think they're going to have that issue. I don't think they're going to have. I don't see this front office getting their hands dirty to to completely shield Perlman if there's bad
and I'm not
results.
insinuating anything. So people, please don't
No, no,
think that
no.
that's
I'm
what I'm
just, I'm
saying.
just.
No, and I'm glad that you said, and I'm glad that you kind of put the point that you put out there. I'm just saying that, like, again, at this point, I have to give him the benefit of the doubt because he is the manager going into the second
Yeah,
half. That's what we've been told.
yeah. We want
That's what
Orlando to
Ricardo
do
did with
great.
his. Yeah, and but my thing is that, like, again, if he, and again, I know there's been a lot out there that's been like, well, you know, we could see the makings of a good coach, but it's not there yet. That's fine, but like, how long is this fan base willing to let him go until they figure that out? You know what I mean? Or
I
ownership, better yet, because I don't make the decisions. How long is ownership and the front office will? Because now I'm starting to question. Because the other question that pops into my head, which I wasn't one of those people before, is it a money problem? Because Oscar left early, are they paying him out for part of his contract, and the Wilfs don't want to pay another manager to come in? Is that part of the problem? I don't think it is, but I'm just saying those are the thoughts people start to have when a situation like this presents itself. Because in the regular season, nobody can argue this. It was not a good half. Like, it was not a good half of a regular season. And I don't even think the front office or Perlman will try to spin that in a different way. The only good part about it is we're as far as we are in the US Open Cup. There's no argument about that.
Yeah, I
But
think that move. I mean, the pareja move. I mean, think about it. The pareja move. I think.
yeah.
Um, how do I say this without? I have a feeling that this whole split, amicable
Mm-hmm.
split, to rephrase it that way, this amicable split between them two happened also, and for what I've been told on the pareja side, for some of the moves, right, which he was part of the decision making. And so,
Sure.
in a way, you know, they already had a rapport with his underling, which was Martin Parliament. And
Mm-hmm.
so, instead of scrambling around and just hiring, you know, Bruce Arena, I don't know, whoever, right, whoever was available, they're like, okay,
Right.
well, let's try this guy out. Let's move everybody up, right? I have a feeling that if they're gonna put everything on a perspective, I have a feeling that based on the situation, they're gonna see wins and losses, man. That's gonna be key. And I mean, if Orlando City loses the U.S. Open Cup, then you're probably heading more towards where you want to be heading at, right? A complete full axe, you know, complete cutthroat change, you know,
Mm-hmm.
bring, you know, maybe have Javier Carrillo lead the team for, you know, until the end of the year, you know, and then go and get another manager or get another manager that's coming from the World Cup. But at that
Yeah.
moment, the team, think about it, ended on a high. And thinking Orlando City the way they think, and what I've been told is they're gonna give Perlman that chance of having that time to train with with the squad, and they have faith that the signings that they sign in this season, like the you know the three young kids, the Brazilian kids, and some of the kids are coming from the pipeline next
But
year
they
are going
gotta
to be
but they gotta play. And
yeah
that's the problem, is that so
yeah
far this manager has not played them consistently. Justin
um,
Ellis is the only one that you can argue has had consistent run
100%.
out so far this season. And Justin Ellis might be relegated to the bench now with Griezmann coming in. We don't know what that's gonna look like yet. And I'm sure the team's gonna figure out a way to get the best 11 on the field. There's no doubt
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, we need to
But I
see.
don't know, but we'll have to see if Justin Ellis fits that. I don't know if he
Yeah,
will. And the other thing, Luis, that we're not talking about is Justin Ellis wanted to go to Europe. So if an offer comes in after this season is done and they promised him they're going to sell him to Europe, he might not even be here for the sprint season,
same.
if you think
And
about it that way.
to add to what you're saying, I know there's some lingering, and this is per sources as well. There's some lingering, not from the front office, but from people close to the players, the young guys
Yeah.
that are like, well, if my if my if my if my repres if my re- if my player, because I'm the representative, I'm their agent, he is
Right.
not being put to have minutes. Hey, let me look at Bundesliga 2 and see if they want to do a move. You know, let me go into, you know, you have talented. Colin Gusky, tremendous player. You got Tyree Reed Brown. He's probably the next big thing right there. He could play D mid. He could play center back. Could play left back. You have Taifi. I think to me, a high
Who just played
ceiling
with
as
the
well.
U23s in Morocco
Right.
too.
So
You
so
don't get, and
again,
not just anybody gets called up for that, right? So
so I agree with you. I think they need to play the kids, and again, we're going to see that. I hope they play the kids because if they don't,
yeah,
we could be at the end of this year on a situation in which some of them they want to go. And yes, we're
and
going to have more space in the roster, right?
yeah,
Yes, but we're going to lose pieces that we could have had in our roster and
yeah,
be like a Columbus Crew or be like a Philly Union, you know what I mean? And make them thrive with the first team and get used to the system. And we're going to
yeah.
lose that chance, or we're going to go see them thrive in a different team now. Like it seems a little unfair, right? But again,
And let me say this because you touched on the kids. I think this is a good segue to talk about OCB real quick
yeah,
because we did want to touch on OCB before we got out of here tonight. Speaking of the kids, I'll start with this. OCB unfortunately snapped their winning streak. They went on a
yeah,
torrid run of
unfortunately,
wins. Unfortunately, last night they snapped it, but I want to give them a lot of credit because the kids who played in this game, it was a younger lineup. The only player that returned from international duty was Dylan Judelson, who, again, if you don't know who Dylan Judelson is, you should. The kid is an amazing central midfielder. He's got a high future. Again, I don't know where the room is for him right now with the first team because we have so many midfielders, but he is a very solid midfielder. Nacho Gomez, who I'm sure a lot of you remember from his stardom when he got his couple games with Orlando City, the first team. He's been playing with OCB. He had a solid game last night. That game ended up being a 2-1 loss for Orlando City. They got a goal back at the very end of the game by Bernardo Rhine. There's another player you should be keeping your eye on because Bernardo Rhine very much plays left back like Angulo plays left wing back for us. He's very good at getting forward, but I think Bernardo Rhine is a better defender than Ivan Angulo is. So that's another player that I think you need to have on your radar. But instead of going like deep into the game, because again, Orlando City outshot Philly, they had more chances than Philly. It just didn't break their way last night, really and truly. There was no other way to put it. That's just kind of the way the game was. I just want to highlight some players that I don't think get a lot of credit for OCB that deserve credit. Because we talk about Caraballo all the time. We talk about Harvey Sajarin. We talk about Pedro Leao. Those are the three guys we bring up a lot. Harvey did not play last night. He got the week off, from what I understand. So he was given a rest. But there were so many kids behind him that showed out, last night and the last couple weeks. Matthew Belgadir is a name that you should
oh yeah,
have in your head as a kid who's coming up.
he's
He's a
great.
16-year-old Puerto Rican winger who is slowly but surely, week after week, getting better and better the more he sees the field. He's a small guy. There's no doubt about that. I think anybody would tell you that who's seen him. But he's shifty. He's quick. He can make
Yeah,
dudes miss. He's
he's
got a heck of
silky.
a shot on him. And he's 16 years old. That's what
It's
the crazy
crazy.
thing about that is that's what's in our academy. And there's him. And then I've talked about Bernardo Rhine already. The other name I think fans should really have in their head, because I think this will happen sooner rather than later, is Tristan Himes, who's the goalkeeper for Orlando City B,
He's
is a
good.
kid that is going to get a contract at some point. I will put my David stamp of approval on that. This kid is going to get a contract at some point. He has had some rocky games this season. He's been up and down. He's mostly been up, not down, but he's had some moments this season. But two things that he's very good at is, number one, his distribution is incredible. He is very good distribution wise. He can get it to his own team very well. When he kicks, when he throws, whatever it is, he's very good at that. The second thing that's very underrated for him, besides the fact that he wears the armband for OCB, because that's another big thing for me, is he's vocal as all can be. And I don't remember a goalkeeper being as vocal as we've had it if
That's
we go
good.
back to the early seasons of Pedro Galese.
Yeah,
Pedro
that's good.
Galese was very vocal when he first came in. Luis probably remembers this when he was around. But Pedro Galese was vocal all the time. It was in Spanish, obviously, so I didn't pick
Yeah.
up a good amount of it, but he was very vocal. Tristan Himes does a very good job at being vocal when he's in his own box. So again, I'm telling you right now, guys, if you don't know about this guy already, he is going to be a kid that eventually gets signed to Orlando City's first team because he has the quality The problem with OCB is they rotate defenses like you change clothes in your closet. So he's never has the same defense in front of him, right? He's having to deal with different defensive combinations every single week. And sometimes they're not the best combinations, right? OCB tests a lot of different things and tries a lot of different things. And so, like, I think if I remember correctly, they've had 8 different center back combinations this season, if I remember that correctly. Don't quote me on that. I think that's what I counted, because they've got Okonski, Chikamus. I forget how to pronounce his name.
Yeah,
They just signed him.
He's great. He's great.
Titus Sandy Jr. They played a Clovis Arshane. They played Tahir Reed Brown got to play there. Gusky got play there. So like all these guys have played center back for OCB this season. So yeah, to kind of hammer away the point that Luis and I were ending about the first team is there's so many kids in the pipeline already behind all of these guys already. And you still have guys that are between teams right now, like in Taifi, Tahir, Colin, Ellis, but I think Ellis has made the full jump at this point. There are all these guys that are kind of in no man's land right now and need to find spots on the roster to contribute. So I'm hoping that the coaching staffs on both sides, and then I think Javier Carrillo's new position is head of player development. I think that's what he is now. I think that's his new title. Yeah. It's going to be on him and consulting with Ricardo Moreira to figure out how to get these guys on the field and get the most out of them. And then if you need to sell some of these dudes. If you don't have room for them, like we sold Granados, Alejandro Granados never made an appearance for the first team. We sold him, was it to Belgium for 2 million or 3 million or whatever that was?
For Club Brugge.
Yeah, for Bruges. Yeah, Club Bruges. So it could be the same thing here. Like maybe there's no room for Dylan Judelson, so maybe you go find a deal for him and you sell him, right? I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying like this is an example of things you can do. So again, I'm going to bang the drum. Go watch the kids. If you don't already, you should watch OCB.
Yeah,
they are a great team.
Yeah, there's going to be an STM friendly as well, right? Coming up.
Yes, yeah. So on July 8th, if you're a season ticket member, a full season ticket member, they were very clear with that. A full season ticket member, or if you're part of the supporter groups, ILF or Ruckus, you will have access to be able to get tickets for this game. It's free. You just have to go and claim them. Your season ticket rep, if you're a season ticket member, should have sent you an email. You just need to sign up on the email and they send you the tickets. You can claim up to 4. And it's going to be open seating on the east side of the stadium. So it'll be open seating, east side of the stadium. Season ticket members will be there, and then supporter groups will be there, and they'll be playing the Tampa Bay Rowdies in this one. From what I understand, the game will not be streamed. I don't think it's going to be streamed, so sorry if you can't make it. But the time is weird on July 8th. It's at 6 p.m. Not 7, not 7:30. It's at 6 p.m. on July 8th. So make sure you plan your schedule properly.
I mean, they want to skip I-4 traffic.
I guess, yeah. And I guess you might need to take a half day at work or something to get there in time or something like that. Or cut out early. Tell your boss you got to leave.
I mean, that's a great initiative. Now, also, I think it's on the works. I don't know if it's true or not yet. But obviously, it hasn't been announced. But I mean, once the World Cup's over, there's going to be also the MLS trying to hype up the beginning of the second half of the season, and new kits are going to come out. So
the retro kit, yeah, we can't forget about that.
There's going to be new kits some of the clubs in the MLS are getting a third kit, and I think Orlando is one of them. So that's going to be cool. So I'm excited for that, especially with Griezmann is going to be on all the photos. Says David G, awesome. Are you just ignoring me right now? Says Mary Barcelona. Says
hello,
here,
Mary. Hello, I was not ignoring you.
It says you're cute. Says Mary to you, David. It says Marcelo Bielsa shouldn't talk too much crap about MLS. He should have taken Facu and Cesar. Right?
I think Cesar would have been really good for this Uruguayan team.
Exactly.
Like he's playing for Tigres. Like he's starting for Tigres. So like he would have been really good. Facu's weird because Facu got that move, and I don't know how much playing time he really got. And I know how Bielsa feels about MLS, so that's probably went into it too. But for Cesar, he went to Tigres, and like he's been balling out with Tigres. So like I don't know how you don't call Cesar Araujo.
1,000%. It says Vapor. It says a banana bow time. It says there you go. Norway Senegal just started. So after the whole weather delay, France beat Iraq 3-0. So I mean, they're
Okay,
still
nice.
on.
Oh, okay,
82nd minute right now, 3-0, France Iraq.
that's
So
less than I thought it would be. I thought it'd be like 4-0 or 5-0, but
now Mbappe is on 15 goals, I believe. And let me see, let me double
okay.
check. No, Mbappe is in. Yeah, he's only 2 goals away from Messi.
Mm.
So it's
And
yeah,
this will be Messi's last World Cup, so there's no way Messi
yeah,
is
it's
probably
gonna
gonna
be a big.
run away. He's probably gonna get
Yes,
it
they're gonna
eventually.
go. Hey man, somebody's taking it to Messi. That's pretty insane.
Best striker of all time. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
let's get him to Orlando City. You
Oh,
imagine?
Mbappe got a brace. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay,
Mbappe got a
interesting.
brace. Yeah,
And
and I
Dembele scored.
mean,
That's good for France.
yeah, but I wanted to thank you guys for your support. We are also we're gonna have, and I wanted to kind of also bring David into it because I think he'll be a very important part. We're opening some memberships for the channel, and a lot of the stuff that I want David, and I want to kind of put him on the spot right now to have its kind of its own. We did a lot of stuff on Discord and all of that good
Mhm.
stuff. But also, I
Yeah,
think it'd be cool to give some of the diehards of LPO like all your insight on some of this transfer rumors and stuff. So why not?
sure.
If you subscribe to the membership, like we may be going live just for members and things like that. So there's got a lot of good stuff that we could do. Also, make you part of like the decision power of what happens to the channel and what kind of content you want to see. So, and why not? Some of the
Absolutely.
times, maybe bring some of the members into to have like a debate panel. Maybe Vapor wants to tell me that I'm wrong, or Luis also telling you, hey, David, I don't agree with you. Same with Mr. Tom Timebomb as well, and everybody, yeah, every single one of you. I think it's more than one. I think it's great to spark discussion. So I'm gonna enable it probably in next week because this week I have to travel to Miami for the Colombia
Mm-hmm.
Portugal game, but
Mm-hmm.
it's coming, so I wanted to announce it. But super chats and all of that are enabled, and it all helps for the taking care of what we do here. But again, thank you. I mean, we're putting out content out the wazoo almost every day, and I wanted to thank you guys for watching it and for consuming it. I
I
know
got another
sometimes,
piece coming out about the World Cup at the end of this round. So, at the end of the second match days, I'll be putting together, like I did for the first ones, all my games that I thought were great. That maybe if you can go back and watch it, you should. So, I'll be putting that out to help us out with some of the
yeah,
content. If you want to read about OCB yesterday, you can find my article on OCB as well. So,
yeah. So David is doing a lot of the OCB stuff here, and obviously you can read his article here. It's right here for everybody to see. The Orlando City B defeat. And when it comes to the World Cup coverage, when it comes to our website, every single game that we're accredited, even if it's just our photographer Isabella or myself, we're doing a piece on our website. And so this is the one that we were accredited for Uruguay, Saudi Arabia. It's right here. And it's in Spanish, but also it's in English. So if you go down to English, it's gonna just be all in English for you there with the links and all of that of what I did. And yeah, our coverage right there, as well as all of our socials. I do want to say there's no and because people have asked me and that have DM me about, hey, Luis, why don't you do live hits from the stadium? Like I show, I'm not gonna mention him, but he said like I show speed, and I said, you want me to, you want me to get kicked out? No, no. Well, with with my roles, I can't. I show speed can because he's I show speed. And because I think he's allowed by FIFA to do it. When
yeah,
it
he got
comes
a
to
special like accreditation, right, or
yeah,
something
he
like
has
that. I
he
think.
has yeah, he can go into the locker rooms, he can do live hits inside even while the game is on. He has rights. So he's just like Telemundo or like Fox. Like he can, I mean, they're not gonna kick him out. But if I do it, like
He also says he's faster than Zlatan and he's faster
right,
than
right.
Henri.
Which
So
but there's gonna be a lot of cool content, especially on the fan fest outside. I heard that it's I mean, I had a friend of mine that went to just pick up his stuff, and he said that it took him from look. He made the mistake of not to drive there. He said
Mm,
from the stadium to where he had to pick up his stuff was
hmm
about 40 minutes. And then an
mm.
Uber on the day of a game. You know how much an Uber is the day of the game?
Over
137
$100, I imagine. Yeah. Okay.
$137 for an Uber.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's that's
Good old
that
surge pricing.
that's insane, bro. So
Yeah.
so I'm I know I'm speaking too much, but for example, I had to book like because obviously I'm gonna my the whole I mean I'm there all day essentially. So
Hmm.
when the post presser, because you FIFA decides you either do mix zone or you do press conference. So for this game, for example, I got press conference, so I'm gonna be in the press conference now when that's over, you out of there, and then you got to walk to your car and all that good stuff. You know where I'm staying at? Like I had to. I'm like I'm not doing that. So I'm literally gonna drive 45 minutes north to get a hotel because, bro, like the within the vicinity, it's all like 600 a night, $700 a night, $800 a night.
Mm,
It's
hmm.
insane, dude. Now, obviously, it's
That's
cool
crazy.
because it's party and there's people and there's probably a lot of good chances of like talking to a lot of people, but
Right.
yeah, it's fun. It's massive, crazy. I heard so, but it's gonna be a good time. I'm very very excited. So, but anyways, I wanted to thank you, David. I want to thank everybody that's live right now. We'll see you guys next week with more Loud and Proud Orlando. I know this week we are putting out our first episode with the new podcast that we're doing with our friend John Rollins. We're going to be putting it out a Sunday afternoon, more than likely. So I wanted to just stay tuned. We're going to recap with him all the World Cup games of that week. And also, he's going to be talking about England. And I don't know if it's coming home, but I mean, it's looking pretty good so far for England. So
Yeah, they look good so far.
a lot of fans are saying we should the U.S. should face on July 4th. It should face England. I'm like, oh
No
wow.
thanks. I'm good.
No, I'm good with that. I think they'll beat us probably. But
Yeah,
either way,
yeah.
I want to thank you guys for your support. We'll see you guys next week. Vamos Orlando. Take care, guys.
Vamos.